Hi guys, it's me, Kenda here, and today we are talking about another Sun and Moon video. Last time I did the trailer analysis review, and it was alright. This time I'm going to be talking about the starters and their possible typings. This is probably one of the most craziest things people have been that I've seen. People are just going all over the internet talking about what types these are going to be and all that stuff. Recently, a YouTuber by PD Wally, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but came across the typings due to looking up on the Japanese website and looking at the source code thing. I have no idea how to describe it. And looking at images, and he came across the typings of each Pokemon. Of course, we have the grass flying Rowlet types. It basically the grass would be a green box with the Japanese writing in it for grass, and then we'd have, I think it was a gray or a white box or something with, I think it was a gray one, and it had the flying in it and same for fire and water. But he came across two typings that were pretty strange, and that was a typing for ground and a typing for fighting. So naturally, is this assumed that since we saw that the only two Pokemon that didn't have secondary typings now were Litten and Populo. That's one name I probably have the hardest time saying. So naturally, he assumed that this was going to be their typings, which makes sense. But as time went on, the internet started figuring out that, it didn't make sense that the ground typing came before fire, because apparently grass was number 1, flying was 2, ground was number 3, fire was 4. This is basically the numbering of the images that were it. And then water was 5, and then fighting was 6, I believe. So yeah, get my numbers correct here. But yeah, so it was pretty strange that ground came before fire, which wouldn't make sense because Game Freak has never switched the typings, especially particularly with the starters, because every starter, and I don't know why Game Freak would even change this, because this is basically it. It wouldn't make any sense to change it because this is just how it's always been, and that's where they're, especially if it's a pure typing, basically, because grass, fire, and water is basically as pure as it can get, so there would be no sense to change it. So yeah, people now assume that Rowlet is going to evolve into a grass ground type. Why? Why is because people have talked about, there's this owl called the burrowing owl, which buries into the ground and makes a little home, and it buries into the ground and basically lives there. I don't know if it so basically lose its flying type and gain the ground, and right now we assume that Rowlet's gonna stay, Litten's gonna stay a fire type, and Populo is gonna be a water fighting type. So yeah, this is pretty interesting. Personally, I have no idea how I know some people. I've heard some people don't like it. Some people are all right with it. I'm kind of glad that Litten won't be a ground type, because that means that Populo is so much stronger to Litten. I think it's like 4 times stronger. I'm not sure on how that type of thing works, but yeah, Litten is so much. Populo is so much stronger than Litten because water overtakes fire and fighting overtakes ground. So, and I doubt Game Freak would ever have ever do something like that. Ever have one starter super overpowered over the other. Now there's Litten, who is stronger than Populo, being grass and being a grass flying type, if that were to stay. And just, I feel like it's out of order. Just feel like it wouldn't make sense, and that'd just be confusing and just not right. Now, this is the first time we've had a water had this kind of typing before. In the Hoenn region, we have Blaziken, who is a fire fighting type, and we have Mudkip, who evolved into a water ground type, but still there was that sort of balance there. If you used a fighting move on Mudkip's final evolution, it still was there, but you couldn't use a fire move because water and fire there. So yeah, it was still balanced. Here, it's not balanced since you have them reversed. It's just one is super overpowered the other, and it just wouldn't make sense. It would make everybody would probably, it just wouldn't make sense at all. So yeah, that's just my personal opinion is that I kind of don't like it, but I don't like compared to if you were battling your rival. Because if you got Litten and a rival got Populo, because there's always that first battle usually that you and your rival have against your starters. It's always been in the game. So yeah, that means of course, you probably wouldn't know any ground moves right off the bat. But yeah, if you were to use your star, let's say later on in the battle, say your starter was the last Pokemon you had, all your others have died, and what was the two last starters there, then yeah, you'd basically be like, you have to be super careful on how you do things, because you could easily lose that. And I just feel like if Game Freak were to do that, that just would be super out of balance, and it just would not be fair to anybody who would choose Litten, because that means your rival would choose Populo, and if you were to have a battle with your starters like that, it just would be super out of balance. And because there's always a way you can win with, if you have the opposite rival, there's still a way you can win even if your rival has the advantage over you. There's still a way to win. You just have to be super careful with it. And I just feel like this would there be no way for this. There'd just be absolutely no way you could win using using those typings. So, yeah. That's kind of my personal opinions. I don't really like it, but if that were to be, then I probably wouldn't care too much. It's just that I just wouldn't be happy about it. So, yeah. Hopefully, as for if it were to be Rowlet evolving into a grass ground type, it's kind of confusing because I think this is the first time that we've ever had a type change like that. Like, we've had this two types, this dual type right up that, and then suddenly change at the end. Now if this were to be a normal type, or at least part normal type, then yeah, I could understand that because it's still part normal type. But if it were to it's never happened with the starter, so this is a little confusing, and be surprised. And I know a lot of people are excited that, we have this grass flying type, and it's an owl and stuff, and I'm curious of how people would personally feel about that. If people would hate this, or people would like it. So, yeah, even though I don't really choose the grass type anyway, there are only a few starters that would ever choose the grass type. I think Rowlet is one of them. I would definitely choose it if I couldn't choose Litten. It's pretty much it. I'm really curious about what the starters would be, what their typings would be. Hopefully, we'll find out on June the 2nd, because June the 2nd, we're supposed to have more Pokemon Sun and Moon news. So hopefully we will have this put to rest during that time. I have no idea if it's going to be. We could have, we could not have that, and we could end up having the the legendaries typings reversed, because I know we haven't had that yet, but a lot of people are still speculating what typing they're going to be. So yeah, we could have that. We could have more game footage, or we could have new Pokemon released. Recently we've actually had by CoroCoro, actually, which is this Japanese gaming magazine, actually released a new video, a trailer video for Sun and Moon. Basically, it's the same as ours. The only difference is that we actually have a new Pokemon for Sun and Moon. And of course, we have new Pokemon. It's Gen 7, it's a new region. Of course we'll have new Pokemon, but people are going nuts about this new typing, and about not new typing, but new Pokemon, and also what's new typing. We have back images from it, and I know I'm not showing you, but it basically looks like a dog. It kind of looks like a dog from the back, And a lot of people are speculating it's basically going to be the Lillipup or the, Furfru or whatever from that region. It's going to be basically, I guess, like how you encountered Lillipup in the beginning of the region and Black and White, and that's how we're going to incorporate. That's how we're going to see that. We're going to see this right at the beginning of our region, and the wild grass is going to be like level 2 and 3 and all that stuff. But yeah. A lot of people are speculating that it's a normal type based on the coloring, and I kind of believe that too. I kind of think it's a normal type, though for it to be introduced in the beginning of the route, from what I've seen, doesn't look like it. Maybe in like a little later, not really later, but like once we get further, like once we get to maybe the second or third route. Probably, I don't know. Maybe we'll make it in the first route. I have no idea. So yeah, that's pretty much it. What I wanted to talk about. It's basically typings of the starters. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Do you guys like these typings? Do you guys believe that Lin's going to be a fire ground type, or do you think Rowlet is going to be a grass ground type, or is it going to stay a flying type? Also, what do you think about Popplio being a water fighting type? Because I know there aren't too many water fighting types, so I actually don't mind that one because I think it would be kind of neat because there's not too many. I know I've heard that there's not too many out there, so having one, particularly as a starter, having another one, but also it being a starter would be super awesome. It'd be kind of cool, and I think it would bring a little bit more attention to Popplio and have it being kind of sort of a little bit better because I know a lot of people are hating on Popplio, and there's a small fan base for it. So yeah. I think that's pretty interesting that that's going to happen. So I have no problems with that. But let me know what you guys think about Litten and Rowlet, and would you still like Lit if he were to be a flying ground type to change like that suddenly at the end? I think it would be kind of a surprise to me if I didn't know this information and suddenly evolved into a flying grass ground type. It's just like, whoa. But also, what do you think of Litten's final typing? Do you think it's going to be a pure fire type? Because I know we have not had a purifying fire type in a long time, and I kind of don't care. It's all right. Litten still, as long as Litten has a cool design afterwards, because I know a lot of the fire types always have cool designs, except for Tepig in Black and White. I didn't really like Tepig's design. But yeah, actually, I'm curious if it's going to replace Chimchar, because Chimchar's final design is my favorite in the entire region. So I'm curious what Lin's going to be. Maybe it will replace, because I think the idea of evolving into a cool tiger-like Pokemon would be just super awesome. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed this video, please let me know, or leave a like if you guys really did enjoy it, or you just want to comment down the video on how much you enjoyed it. So, yeah, I'm Canada, and goodbye for now.